Radio presents Radical Talk with the Think Tank. What is radicalism? Radicalism is the beliefs or actions of individuals, groups, or organizations who advocate for thorough or complete social and or political reform to achieve an alternative vision of American society. Join us as we engage in conversations regarding radical changes to lifestyles as they relate to physical, mental, and social well-being in North Chicago, Illinois. And let us know if these changes can relate to your city too. Listen, join the founder of the North Chicago Think Tank, William Coleman, and the founder and host of the Radical Radio podcast for our also radical discussion. Let's go, y'all. Yes. Radical Radio is busy, y'all, but we are back with a purpose. We are back with a plan. We have the founder of the North Chicago Think Tank, William Coleman, in the building. This is going to be an amazing series that we will be doing from now until the month of May. So we need you guys to stay with us, stay connected with us. Billy has a lot of good things that he has to say. Okay, so I'm a little excited, y'all. Y'all have to forgive me, but I'm gonna go ahead first and tell you a little bit about the North Chicago Think Tank. The North Chicago Think Tank is a policy research, reform, and advocacy focused project aimed at improving the quality of life for citizens in North Chicago, Illinois, by building and growing local power, creating spaces for Black imagination and innovation, and centering Black joy. Listen, y'all, I had never even heard the term Black joy until I met this guy right here. And then when he said it, it just made me light up. It just made me feel good. It made me feel powerful. It made me feel dope. It made me feel just like, we that, because we are that. So I want to thank you, Billy Coleman, for joining us. We affectionately call our brother Billy, so he is William Coleman, but this is Billy Coleman to us. But Thank you, bro, for joining us. I am so excited. Tell the people why you wanted to join and collaborate with Radical Radio for this series on radicalism.
Well, first off, meeting you, our first meeting was amazing, coming out to the events that you guys were holding in Zion at a time when things were, really starting to form around protesting and learning what we want for ourselves and our community. And I was like, man, okay, I'm really liking these guys, and I don't know what to do, but I'm gonna make me a little sign and I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna come to the conference. And I feel like we have to do a great job of being intentional with the relationships that work for us, and stop always trying to go for, I'm gonna do this new relationship, or I'm gonna go to this new. It's like, if I have a great relationship with my sis, let's collaborate and keep collaborating and keep creating new projects and keep doing new things. So that's why I just want to keep a very close tie with Radical Radio and Radical Life.
I love it. It listen, and bro, I'm gonna give you some time if you want to share it. Have you shared it to the think tank page?
No, I don't know how to do any of that.
Bro, we need somebody to help. Okay, what I'm gonna do. Hold on, let me see if I can tag the think tank.
Yeah, if you tag us.
Let me see. You know what? I probably can do it on my page. Maxi, can you help us out, honey? I think you can. Let's see.
Can you am I still there?
No, you're not.
Hold on, I'm posting this on the North Chicago Think Tank Facebook page.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm gonna tag the North Chicago Think Tank. Hopefully this will work. Hopefully. Oh, Maxi got it for us. She gonna help us out. I appreciate you. Thank you to the super producer of Radical Radio. Thank you. That was a quick blurb. Sorry, y'all. But he was real light on that. Let me tell y'all something. Billy had a sign dedicated to Ahmaud Arbery, was it not?
Yeah.
And let me paint this picture for y'all, right? Y'all see how my bro look, right? He's definitely unique. He's definitely comes in his own way. He definitely is very, very, powerful, right? And when he came to our event, not only did he have the sign, you know what I'm saying, but he was full of energy and he was full of power and he was full of, let me tell you, diversity. The reason why I was glued to Billy was because he was talking about how he had experienced the villages in third world countries, y'all. It was amazing. When I tell y'all, like, the moment that he spoke, the moment that he was sharing his experiences with us, I knew from that moment, I'm like, I'm finna be connected with him. Like, I'm gonna connect with him and I'm gonna stick with him. Because so often, you don't find brothers who done been to like third world countries and who know about the villages around, in those countries, and who have sat and made new families in these countries. Like, he has done it all. So I really want to paint that picture. He is well traveled, well versed in a lot of different things. And we just don't find brothers like that. Brothers, a lot of our brothers, they stay in the hood and they stay there and they don't leave. But Billy is the one person that I know that could be the poster for you getting out and branching out and going to see different things and going to see different cultures. So thank you, bro, because that's what I will forever remember.
Yeah, and I'd like to. I saw Jerry just posted on there real quick. What's up,
Hey,
Jerry? I just wanted to say that right now I'm in Acapulco, Mexico, and I want to keep letting people know that centering Black joy is also about centering Black self-care. Yes. And so we've been doing a lot of work, and I'm going to be in Acapulco for a while, because I am literally taking the time to restore myself, and I want to keep sharing with people how I use Workaway. I have a new family in Mexico that's teaching me to dive and teaching me to conquer my fear of water and deep water. And if you go to my Instagram page, Black and Abroad Official, you'll see my journey. I know we don't often talk about like scuba diving or, underwater existence. We scared of water.
Yes.
This is another opportunity for me to face some of my fears, but also to take a step away while still engaging with the community, but doing it in a way where I'm putting myself first. I'm centering myself and saying I need to restore myself in order to be of value when I come back home. So yeah, glad to be able to promote that and do that, because that's radical as well.
That is very, very radical, and I love it. When you said you put a post up and you was like, y'all come visit me, I'm like, I'm trying to figure out, let me look at my coin, let me see what I could do, because I'm going to visit Billy. You ain't gonna be out there without me, bro. I'm coming to visit. Jerry said she loved me. You should have took her. We going, sis. We gonna go meet Billy. That's what we gonna do.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into some things. As we said in the commercial, we want to talk about radicalism, what radicalism is. I have some questions that I'm going to throw out to Billy, and we're going to have some good discussion. When me and my bro get together, it's just really always a dope discussion. We could talk for hours and hours and hours, and it just would be forever. So we just want you guys to join in the conversation. Tell us what you think. Share your thoughts. If you have questions for him, most definitely ask questions. Throw anything that you'd like to throw out there in the chat, and we'll definitely put it out there. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Billy, I want to ask you, what is the definition of radicalism that the North Chicago think tank follows?
So the definition that we follow is to be favoring extreme change in existing views, habits, conditions, or institutions. And we really wanted to kind of highlight that, because radicalism often gets romanticized, right? You get these images of these men and women who have done amazing things, but you don't really understand the full scope of their human.
Grit.
Yes, right. It's a lot that
Yeah.
it's really about you making an extreme change within yourself of existing views or institutions, right? And we are surrounded by all of these institutions, whether they are formal or informal, and it's kind of just like that's just what we do, and that's what
Absolutely.
everybody does, and that's what everybody
Absolutely.
has done, and we almost threaten each other for trying to be different, right? And so then even that difference starts to become marketed or romanticized. So then everybody's like, well, I'm different, or I'm this, or I'm that. So the North Chicago think tank really wants to take the time to explain to the people the definition that we're using and understand and help the people understand that it's a continual act.
Yes.
To be always reviewing the views or habits or conditions or institutions that we live in, to say, does that work for us? How does it work for us? Does it work for everybody equally? And if it doesn't, what are we doing to adjust that? There's nothing wrong with analyzing what we're doing every day and saying it might have worked yesterday, but does it work today? And will tomorrow? So yeah, and a lot of times radicalism is violent. What's up, dog? The puppies want to get involved. But radicalism often is painted as violent and painted as dangerous, but really it's a very joyous existence. It's a very communal existence. It's a very fun existence. I'm a radical, and my radicalism leads me to different countries and engaging with new languages and new foods and new styles, because I'm willing to say, well, maybe the way I was living yesterday was okay for yesterday, but maybe today I want to do something different. And we wish that for every person.
Absolutely. I love it. And I think that's just, and let me just be transparent. You know, I wanted to connect to Billy because he was different, and I'm different. And, you know, like he said, sometimes different does get romanticized, but I feel like, you know, when you're unique and when you're different and you're set apart, let me say that, because that's the best way to say it. When you're set apart, you know, people will not understand you, people will misunderstand you, and people will, you know, just feel like, you know, you're not like them in many ways. But one thing I can say about Billy is he can be hood, he can be professional, he can be, you know, diverse, he can be cultural based. There's so many different angles that he can go. And to me, that is amazing. That is radical. That is different. And that is a good radical. I never forget that I had an interview, and, you know, when I told this guy, I said, you know, I'm a radical chick, you know, and he was like, radical? Like, what you mean radical? Like he took it in a negative manner, you know, and it's like, for me, my radicalism is more of social radical, not necessarily politics and the political aspect of it. I do have to dive into that world sometimes, because even, you know, for me, I know I'm in ministry. Ministry is politics. Okay. But for the most part, what I learned about myself in my healing journey was that it was okay for me to be different. It was okay for me to look at the way I was raised and say, I don't know if I like that. You know, I want to change that. Or I didn't like how that felt. I'm going to change that. And I'm going to make sure that I speak up. And that's the type of radical that I believe in, that I, you know, build this platform on, just being unapologetically bold and purposely authentic, making sure that, you know, when things don't work for you, like you said, you are able to analyze it and you're able to say, what will work for me? You know, and we have to be in a place in our lives to be able to say something doesn't work for me. It's no more go with the flow. It's no more do it because mama and them did it. It's no more do it because, you know, my friends do it. No, if they're doing something that you don't want to do, or that you think you can do different or better, you have that choice to do that. So thank you for that. I love that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I want to reiterate that I really personally feel like that's the original way. If you look at the way children come into the world, they come with them WH questions. They want to know who, they want to know where, they want to know how, they want to know why, they want to know when. And I think that that's the purest space that you can be in, because you're always analyzing. you're always saying, okay, there's more questions that need to be asked because I need more answers. And I think the think tank, people always say, why did you say think tank? And I'm like, because it's powerful to think. It's powerful to use your brain, and it's powerful to feel empowered enough to say that I get to ask you why. I get to ask you how. I get to ask you where. And I really get really sad when I see children start to be, burdened with negativity surrounding their questions. I think, the think tank wants to start implementing this narrative that we have to start mimicking the children. And we have to start saying, if the baby is asking why, maybe you should be asking why too. If the baby is asking where or how many people or whatever, maybe that's a signal that you should be asking that too. And maybe that questioning part of yourself just has been kind of subdued or beat down over time.
Mm-hmm.
And the think tank just wants to encourage people to keep doing that, to keep saying, I can ask my WH questions, because I'm gonna tell you, asking about coming to Acapulco, I said, why am I not scuba diving? Why am I scared to swim with whales? Why am I scared to do this? When can I go do that? And answers just started to appear. And it started to say, well, you can do that if you do this or do that. And I just want to keep encouraging people to keep asking those questions.
Yes, and that is amazing. That is amazing. I mean, my healing journey was a whole bunch of WH questions, like, why are you like this?
Yeah.
When did you get like this? Yes. What happened to make you like this? And one of my biggest things was I had to ask myself, like, Ladina, you were born a baby, innocent, happy, joyous, loved. What happened to bring on anger? And I had to look back and say to myself, this is what caused the anger. And then I could, pinpoint every area in my life that I needed to take a look at, and I needed to analyze so that I could get back to that childlike person, being who I am, not being boxed in. Because when we go through things as a child, we tend to, the trauma tends to box us in a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, till, you traumatized, and you don't want to do things the way that you normally would have done them with the innocence of a child. So I get that. That's really, really powerful. And I hope y'all understand that, because it really is like, we are always supposed to have our childlike instincts. We're not supposed to behave like children, but we're always supposed to have those childlike instincts and those kind of like innocent instincts. The trauma that we endure is what stops us and blocks us from having those childlike, things. So anyways, let's go to the next question. I'm sorry. Let me jump off the soapbox. Why have you chosen this definition of radicalism over any others?
So we chose this because culture or culturing can start to behave like a cult, right? Start to behave like a cult, and it can start demonizing the act of questioning, right? To where the culture that you're grown in, right? The earth is full of different cultures, but each one, you were born in, and sometimes it becomes the way instead of a way.
Wow.
And there are a series of ways of existence around this planet. Some things work, some things don't. But we know that the more access you have to the different various ways, the more likely it is that you'll find a way that works for you. But what we found is that if you don't favor change, right? If you don't favor change in views or behaviors or institutions, what is normal can start to be put on a pedestal, on a dangerous pedestal, to where the brain is normally functioning, where it's like, I should be questioning this, and you're saying no. You're starting to say no, like, just the way that I'm seeing is the only way, and I have to make myself fit into that way. No matter how many signals you're getting, no matter how many bells are going off in your heart and in your brain that's saying, this isn't right for me, something is wrong. But the culturing is so strong that it is saying, you're bad if you favor change. You're bad if you favor inquisitive nature. You're bad or dangerous if you are questioning this culture. And so the think tank can only work if everyone's brain is working. The think tank is not meant to speak for the people of North Chicago or to speak on the people of North Chicago. It's meant to model the act of thinking, to model the act of questioning, and say we all have that cognitive ability. When you wake up in the morning, your brain is fresh, and it should be saying, okay, this is what the sky looks like, and this is what my surroundings look like, and this is what feels good, and this is what feels bad. And if it feels bad, I should feel empowered to make questions and changes to make it feel better. And that's why we really wanted to go for that definition, because again, we don't want to be caught up in the romanticizing of radicalism. Even
Right.
we'll talk about, the struggle of even just Blackness. A lot of people know about the surface level of different identities in our struggle, but they don't know about the layers of almost peeling back of culture.
Yes. Yes.
The layers of being told, like, you better stop. You better get in line. This is just the way it is. So we really wanted to use this particular definition to say, we have to center the act of favoring change, not just acknowledging it, but saying I actually prefer to be in a place where I'm able to change. I'm able, because life, we evolve. We're not rigid. When you're rigid, you break. But when you are pliable, when you are changeable, then you can adapt to anything that comes.
Yeah.
That's when we are at our best.
Yeah.
That's when we're at our best. So that's why we chose that definition.
And that's amazing. And I just want to, for the listeners, I just want you to know, the North Chicago think tank is focused on North Chicago, Illinois, which is a city that I live close to. I was raised close to. Billy is a product of North Chicago. And I just, even in the commercial, I wanted you guys to think about how this would impact, how this conversation can also impact your city or your town, because the think tank is something that you can do in your own city. It's not just something that can be done in North Chicago, Illinois. Billy has put together different statistics, and he does the research, and he has a whole team that goes into the community and really asks these WH questions, and really getting down to the nitty gritty of what's really going on in our community. So I want to encourage those that are listening that you too have the ability to form your own think tank in your own community and be your own radical self within your community, because there's a lot of communities that we have where we do want change. We do want to see things, happen in a different way, but you don't know where to start. And I'm telling you, like, Billy and his team are a wealth of knowledge. So if it's anybody that would be interested in doing it for their own community, I kid you not, I'm sure he would jump to give you the information that you need. So I just want to encourage those that are listening that this is just, we are focused on North Chicago, Illinois, because this is his program. However, this is something you can do in your own community. Okay. What are some of the difficulties that you face with this particular definition of radicalism?
Change is difficult because we always see the end product of change. That's what's marketed to us. But that journey from where I am, to where I want to be, is very rarely celebrated, is very rarely articulated, right? So if you look, we grew up in a Christian nation, right? And they say, okay, Jesus went into the he went into the forest for 40 days, and he understood who he was, and he became the Christ, right? Or you talk about Buddha, who did that, or any person that has made some sort of journey, not just spiritual, but maybe even intellectually. You don't know what happened between those days, right? You don't know what happened leading up to those days. You don't know what was that moment that said, I'm going to start doing things differently now. We always celebrate what they become, right? And so what we found is that a lot of people want to see that bridge, the crossing of that bridge modeled. But I don't really believe it can be, because it's so individual. If you decide to change, there's going to be this very unique and personal situation that you're going to go through, that you just have to go through. And one step at a time, whether it's you're changing your eating habits, or you're changing. I've seen some people go through metamorphosis just trying to stop gossiping, or just trying to stop ingesting negative content, or and it's just a journey that you have to go through with your own sacrifices and your own willpower exercises. And we struggle with that because a lot of people have experienced burnout. There's a lot of mental health crises that you go through during that time, because it's just so heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy. You go through withdrawal, you go through seclusion, you start to feel isolated, because you're like, well, I want to stop doing this thing that's negative for me, but everybody around me does that thing. So what does that mean for me?
My goodness.
Cut off everybody. I want to stop watching this negative content. But where am I supposed to look for positive content? Who's giving me, so we've struggled with that, because we want to be a beacon of light for the city of North Chicago, but we also don't want to replicate this message that you should just be following what other people are doing. Mm-hmm. We want to keep reiterating that if you really hone in on your brain, and you really just meditate, and you research, and you do things, your brain is going to show you the direction that you should be going, and the bridge build. And that's difficult for a lot of people. It's difficult for me, because I'm like, I started traveling. I'll just use traveling as an example. I started traveling back in 2008. It's 2021, and this is the first time my sister came with me on a trip.
Wow.
It's not, and every step of the way I wanted my sister to see these countries and see these cultures and engage, but it just wasn't her time.
Right.
And so it would have been unloving for me to try to drag her across my bridge. That was my bridge. And her bridge was built and ready to be crossed in 2021. And I think I'm learning that even, to say everybody has their own pace. Yeah. And they build and cross their bridge. But we really do struggle with that, because when you see things that are harming your community, you really just want everybody to just knock it off immediately. You're like, everybody stop. Let's just build these bridges.
Please. Yes.
But that's just not the way it goes, especially when you don't have resources like healing centers or rehabilitation centers or healing circles or conversations where men and women and children feel safe spaces for them to go through the processes that they need to go through in order to, withdraw from negative influence or whatever. Is really difficult.
Yes.
That's been a struggle for us, but we are encouraged because people see the joy from the other side, the more they're willing to cross their own particular bridges.
And you know what? That's good. That was really good, because that touched me when you say, we see things in our community and we want the change. Like we've been talking, and we've been rocking, and we want change, and we've discussed it, at length about the change that we want to see. But one thing I can say too is that positive is not popular. Positive is not popular. So when you're in that space where you want to change and you want to do better and you want to be a better person, it's not always popular. And, I can speak for Radical Radio. We don't do what others do. We made a decision. It was a choice that, I wanted this to be a positive platform, to be able to help people see the process of what business owners go through, what nonprofits go through, what people in general go through when they are trying to change and when they are trying to make a change for the better. And like you said, it's not easy. And one thing I would love, this is just me, I would love to have healing centers. I would love to have safe spaces where people can go and just speak without being judged, without being ridiculed, without being, afraid, because we don't have those type of spaces. The free thinkers, when we met, that's what we were trying to exude, just a space where people could, in the midst of all of our brothers getting killed by police, be able to just let it out. No matter what it is, no matter if we agreed or disagreed, however you felt, we just wanted to give an outlet where people can come and say, look, this is how I feel. And it be okay. Because a lot of times us, brown and Black culture, people, we don't have that freedom. And we were oppressed, by the culture of, just not saying how we truly feel. And that becomes a problem in our lives. Like, and the journey to reverse that, I always say, like, look, if you were in an abusive relationship for 12 years, how many years do you think it's going to take for you to recover? How many years do you think it's going to take for you to heal? It's going to take just about that amount of time for you to heal as well. You got to take, you got to take that time, and you got to take the other time to heal, because that's a long time to endure the same thing, and the abuse and the mental and the physical and all of that. You have to unlearn a lot of things, so it's that is a difficult point. The change, wanting and yearning, for a change is very, very difficult. And I just want to ask you this. I know for you decided that you were going to go to therapy. You making sure that you're taking care of yourself. That's why you're in Acapulco right now. Like, how hard has it been for you to have something like the North Chicago think tank, and then know within yourself, hold on, something ain't clicking. I got to take care of me in order for this to be really what it should be. What was that like for you?
I'm still not. I still don't relate to it really well. I think about when I'm on a plane. I don't particularly have children, but I do have people that I care about. And every time they do the in-flight security, the in-flight message, and they talk about the dropping of the air masks. And they say, before you put the masks on your child, put the mask on you first. And it always upsets me, because I still can't get past that. I'm like, maybe, but what about the child? Like, you should be helping them, like you should put the mask on them first, because maybe that, but every time it reminds me that you have to take care of yourself first, because you're not actually in a place to help them if you can't breathe.
Right.
Fight with that still a lot, because having the North Chicago think tank, I'm like, okay, I need to be there. I need to be in it, and I need to be of it, and I need to be assisting on the ground. I need to have boots on the ground. But I was becoming very unhealthy. My father had passed from COVID-19. It was very traumatic. 2020, 2021 was traumatic. All these images of Black death, of Black suffering. It was just constant. There was our team was suffering from so much mental fatigue and burnout, and my friends and family were just dropping. Like, they were just dropping, but still trying to have these conversations on the internet, and still trying to debate, and still trying to read all these heavy books, and attend these seminars and march and do all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I got to keep doing it. And I finally was like, man, I got to get into therapy, because if I don't get into therapy, I can feel myself breaking. Like, I can feel myself breaking. And some people that I really love were like, man, like, I don't like having conversations with you anymore because you always just go so heavy. You always go so heavy, and even though they're like, what you're saying is correct, but we can't even see the joy no more. We can't even see the spirit of Billy no more because you just angry and you
in it. Yeah.
So I said, I don't want that. I don't, because I love teaching children. I love encouraging young Black children, all children, but specifically young Black children.
Yeah.
They count on me to be fun, Mr. Billy. They count on me to be wondrous and to be imaginative and to be light. And I was feeling that kind of just like going. And so I said, nope, I got to stop. And that's when I decided to move away for a bit.
And that's amazing because I just want to share with y'all. When I was I had the opportunity to move back here to Georgia, I remember calling Billy and I'm like, bro, like I feel so guilty. Like I was having a moment because we were so ingrained in the community and trying to, connect with people and really just trying to come up with a resolution of things that we could do to impact our home where we were born and raised, right? And I'll never forget, my brother told me, he said, listen, you have to, not feel guilty, and you have to do what's best for you. And in that moment, I kind of just like had a, whew, but it took for him to tell me that. And so I understand when, you're talking about the face mask, like sometimes it takes for you to have people in your corner and in your circle that know, just to tell you like, look, you got to take care of you in order for you to take care of others, and even with young adults, I coach young adults, 16 to 24. Even young adults in that age bracket are trying to like take care of their brothers and their sisters and their parents. And I'm like, yo, hey, you got to be able to take care of you first before you're in a great position to be able to help your brother, before you're in a great position to be able to help your mother. Like, you got to take care of you first. And unfortunately, like, the honest truth is that's very difficult for a lot of us. It's very difficult for a lot of us, but this is encouragement. We hope to encourage you guys to understand that it is necessary to take care of you first so that you can be the best version of yourself for others. So we're going to get off that right now. So the next question I want to ask you is, what vision do you have for North Chicago and other neighborhoods if this form of radicalism is adopted?
So our vision, and this is, we talked about introducing new vocabulary, right? And there's 3 vocabulary words that I want to introduce tonight that I hope we can continue to use throughout this series. And the first one is thriving. Thrive. Yes. Thriving is to grow vigorously. It's to grow, but to grow vigorously at a pace that is strong and fast, and you're just out here thriving, and I think
that sounds good. That sounds real good. You're just out here thriving.
Right. We constantly use terms like grinding. We use terms like doing what you got to do. And while I understand that, and I know what that means because I've lived it and I am living it, I want to be clear that that's not the way. That's not life. Life is thriving. If you go into a forest, not a dead forest, a rainforest, it's thriving. It's green. It's dew in the air.
Yeah.
Life is in the air. The birds are singing. The animals are fruiting, mating, like it's thriving. That's what I want to see for us. I want to see kids playing in the street again. I want to see corner stores. I want to see people walking their dogs and walking boyfriends and girlfriends and kissing on the street and thriving. So that's
one. Okay.
Prosper. So to prosper is to reach a height of development. a height of development. And I think we're not prospering, right? We are just kind of moaning and groaning and making it from one step to the next, one program to the next, one situation to the next. And I don't want that for us. I want to see us prosper, and I want to see large families where no one's worried about where the food's coming from, or whose name the lights are in, or are we going to be able to make rent, or how are we getting from doctor's appointments to this or to that. Like, I want us to be prosperous. I want there to be North Chicago. I want the parks to be filled and there to be workouts all over the place. And you know, so that's the other one. So I'd love to see North Chicago thriving. I'd love to see North Chicago prosperous. And the last one is I would love to see North Chicago flourishing. So flourishing is to become strong in an enterprise or activity, right? So what we are seeing in North Chicago, which I always see in Black and brown ingenuity, is you see enterprise. You see it all the time. People doing whatever. They're coming up with ways to engage in the marketplace. But these enterprises are not flourishing. I want to see a pipeline of flourishing where you start at the beginning of the year and maybe you selling plates or whatever, and you doing what you got to do. And then by that next quarter or the third quarter or the fourth quarter, you're flourishing. Now you got a building, or you got a food cart, or you've gone to the next stage and you're starting to plan for the next stage, and you're educating your family on how to participate in that. I'm in Acapulco right now, and I just sit and stare at the what are they called, the tortillarilla. I think I might be saying that wrong for my people that's from the culture. I'm sorry, but it's the people tortillas.
Right.
They're building, and they sit outside and they make them tortillas, and everybody on the block goes to them to get their tortillas. And it's flourishing. You can see they wake up in the morning, they open their store, and they get to pounding the flour and the corn and stuff. And sorry, not flour, but the corn. And they have blue tortillas and yellow tortillas and white tortillas. And it's like, it's flourishing. It's part of a community. And lost that in North Chicago. When I'm in these villages, I'm seeing somebody selling fruit, somebody selling bread, somebody selling water. And we down on each other if somebody's selling socks, or if somebody's selling, I don't know, grapes, or somebody selling, I don't know, earrings, eyelashes. It could be whatever. And we don't make it for them to flourish. We don't street just all come out and they just pop up their table, and you could just walk down in this flourishing network of enterprises. And that's really what I want to see for North Chicago. We need to start demanding that. Saying, even if it's every spring, from spring into summer, we choose one street. It could be Greenfield, it could be Broadway, it could be Sheridan. I don't care who it is. Flourish. And anybody doing anything, we're going to bring them here and we're going to support them.
And that's amazing, because, you know, I like just the vision of thriving, being prosperous, and flourishing. Like, it just, like, it makes me smile, because it's like, it's refreshing, right? It's refreshing to hear. Those are refreshing words. Like, those are words of like growth. Those are words of legacy. Those are words of like generational building and wealth. And, you know, just like, those are great words to envision in your community. Like, I could visualize seeing like fruit stands, and, you know, this person over here selling plates, and this person over here selling bread. And I mean, just a market of the people from the community. That's dope. Like, that's amazing. That's an amazing vision. Like, I can see it. That's how amazing it is. Like, I can visualize that. And, you know, as you were talking, you know, when I was growing up, we were a close-knit community. Like, everybody knew everybody in Lake County. right? We used to hear, what's your mama name? You bring a friend over, first thing, your mom say, well, what's your mama name? Who your people is? And they immediately know. But we've had so many migrations and, people coming from other places that it's no longer like that. But I just still feel like even with migrations, like we should know who's in our community. We should know one another. We should, go next door and really speak to our neighbors. And personally, when I moved to Georgia, I never talked to my neighbors. And I always felt horrible about it. Like I always felt horrible, but I felt also like, well, you don't really know them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, in my mind, where I want to see change is I have to go and introduce myself and get back to that neighborly culture. And we've gotten away from it for a reason, right? But in my mind, I'm like, no, but I want that. Like that felt good. It didn't feel good living next to these people and I never spoke with them. So we have the power to make the decisions, to make the changes that we know will feel good to ourselves.
And I mean, I think that's the when we talk about this favoring an extreme change in habits.
Yeah.
Right? When I came to Acapulco, I walk from my casa's home, to the dive shop. So Acapulco is very hilly, so I have to walk down this hill and all these people. And I was doing this thing where I was immediately putting my ear pods in. Because, Chicago, you put them ear pods in, you get to where you're going.
Absolutely.
And then, my family and friends that are here, they were like, just so you know, like you're new, so people are going to be speaking to you. So you have to say buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. Like they're going to be saying, como estás? Like, how are you? Like they know who you are. And it made me realize, like, man, we've gotten so far away from this notion that you talk to people.
Yes.
You talking to people. And that's why I love kind of coming out of our experiences, coming out of our behaviors and saying, well, they do this kind of different over there.
Right.
So how it is. And I might not like it. I might want to go back to what I was doing. But let me at least see. And then I can go back to my homies and like, hey, y'all, like over there, everybody's saying good morning. And
right. They speaking to each other. Like they talking.
Yes. And I think about that. Even when I was living in India, they don't say Mr. or Mrs. They say auntie and uncle.
Wow.
So if you meet somebody that's a stranger, you're going to have that level of familiarity first. That's your uncle or that's your auntie. And I kind of adopted that, to where when I see people, I'm like, oh, okay, that's uncle so-and-so, or that's auntie. Yeah. We used to have that, we used to have that kind of networking.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, again, going back to my childhood, like I had a village. Like I had so many people that were not blood related to me, but were related to me and loved on me and, all of that. And that just made my childhood the absolute greatest. It made, I was loved on by so many people. And I truly believe in the village. I feel like that's one of the things that we really, really need to incorporate, because it does take a village to raise a child. It takes a village to, impart, thriving and prosperous and, being, what's the last one?
Flourishing.
It takes a village.
But you know what? I want to add to that. It takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to heal an adult.
That part.
And because we think that it's done, right? We're not anymore, so we don't need the village anymore. But the fact is that you always need the village.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. So we have a question. They said, Billy, what made you bold enough to take that leap and live out the country?
So you know what? I had started in corporate, and one of my corporate experiences led me to go overseas. And, I was asked to go to Hong Kong. And I was like, whoa, like Hong Kong is kind of like Chicago, and the MRT is just like the L. And, they kind of just like us. And then don't want to say that I have anything different than anybody else.
Right.
Because I feel like we all have the same competencies. We all got a boldness about us. We all got a curiosity about us. But I think, I mean, I'm just gonna be bold and say it. I feel like if you feel like you got a relationship with God, God is a earthly. It's not singular to one country. We are earthlings. And I feel like my mom and dad always taught me that this whole planet is for us. This whole planet is our inheritance. And um I just kind of was like, oh, I think that's true. I think that's kind of true, you know? And the more I would meet, and I eventually in this series, I want to talk about workaway.info. I want to keep shouting that out, workaway.info. That's how I find the projects in the countries that I go to. And I find host families, and they welcome me, and they call me to their homes, and they help me kind of adjust. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm just like popping up and I know everything that's going on. There's actually like a whole system.
It's a whole process to it. Yeah.
But the first time it happened, it was so encouraging because I think we're taught, especially as Black people, we're taught that nobody likes you. Nobody likes you. Everybody hates you. No one really appreciates you. And anybody who you encounter, they're going to treat you with the same racism or the same hate or same deadly force that you've faced your whole life. And the first time I felt something different, I was like, whoa, okay, they still see my Blackness, but it's different. And it kept encouraging me. And that's why I want to keep using my photos to keep doing storytelling and doing the My Global Adventures program with young kids.
Yes.
So you can see that, you want to learn about math, do it through currency conversion. How much is that dollar in Asia? How much is that dollar in Zimbabwe? How much is that dollar in Brazil? And what could you be doing there if you were here? And
yes,
if we just stop the fear from starting, it won't take so much boldness. The boldness is just because we're trying to tear down all that fear, unnecessary fear that's kind of plugged into us. But
absolutely,
if we stop the fear from happening, I think more people will engage in global travel.
Now I have to be obedient here. I see Billy, like I see so much. Like I see so much that you can do. I see so much that this experience has showed me with you. Like I see you being able to be the conduit, the person that will be able to place our children in these countries and be the advocate for them to go into these countries. Like I see that with you, and it's amazing. Like it really is amazing, just off the strength that you're willing to take this journey, step out and do it first. You're giving us you're giving us like the living canvas of us being able to do it. Like when I look at your pictures, I'm always so amazed. Like the picture that I put in a commercial, I had to use that particular one because I'm like, he just like, the smile was a mile wide and you were just in your element. And I could just tell that you were just like thriving. Like you were just, it was like a burst of energy, And
I can tell you something. I was doing the writing for this episode and share something that happened today. So every day I dive. I have to do 1 or 2 dives because I'm practicing to become a dive master.
Okay.
And now in Acapulco is the humpback whales are migrating through. So every day when we're out in the Pacific Ocean, we see the whales and we see, and that's so foreign for me, right? I'm like, whales, what is that? And today, and I encourage anybody that's on this to go to my Instagram and see the most recent video that I put up, because the humpback whales were very close to our boat.
Wow.
Very close. And a young lady who dives with me, her name is Betty. Betsy is very brave, way braver than I am, and she jumped in the water and she's swimming with these whales, and they're taking the fight. You know, and it's like the waves are crashing and the water is splashing, and I'm just like praying. Like, what is this? And it was thriving. It was life. It was life. And I was like, wow, there's just like all of this for us. All of this. And I just want to keep sharing that. You know, I don't know what's gonna come of all of this, but I do want to keep just amplifying what I'm seeing.
Absolutely.
Telling people like this, these things that you're seeing on my Instagram page are coming from trust. They're not coming from someone who has amassed tons of bags of money. There's nothing that I'm doing financially different than anyone else. I want to keep saying that. I'm trusting. I'm just talking. I'm communicating to people. I'm willing to try something new, and it's turning into the most brilliant experiences. And I just feel it. That's what I want.
I feel it. Look, I told you, I'm going where Billy at. Like, I gotta get out of here because I gotta go where he at. Because the experience, just to, like, you know, I'm always like, bro, on your post, like, bro, that post was amazing. Like, you know, but now just to see you in your element, and I almost feel like I seen you kind of go through the grit. And I seen you go through, you know, what you were going through and, you know, worrying about the community and trying to impact and, you know, marching and just being in it. And now to see that you have taken this time to take care of self and you are back in your element that you absolutely love and adore, it brings me joy, right? It really brings me joy because I'm like, look, that is the epitome of you taking care of yourself and you getting that Black joy, you know, on the inside of you. So it is amazing to see. And it's very encouraging. It's extremely encouraging for me and I'm sure others. But this is, you know, listen, y'all, this is just part one of this series. We wanted to introduce to you what the North Chicago Think Tank is. We wanted to give you an idea of the mission and the vision of the North Chicago Think Tank. We wanted to explore what their radicalism is within their it's a nonprofit, correct?
Correct.
Within their nonprofit, so that you get an understanding of where this conversation is going to go. Right. We want to really dive into conversation of, you know, how we can change our lifestyles that impact mental, physical, and well-being, and, you know, all of that, you know, that it encompasses. So we just wanted to use this segment here to kind of give you an open idea of where we're going with this. So, Billy, do you have anything to add to what I just said?
Nope. I will say thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing me to benefit from this platform. Thank you for building this platform. One of our goals is to highlight and make space for Black innovation and imagination, and this is one of those. And you know, we have to use our virtual spaces until we can get our concrete spaces, but they coming.
They coming. Yes, they definitely coming. So can you tell the people if they want to donate to the North Chicago Think Tank, how they can go about doing that?
So right now, what I would ask you to do is go to www.northchicagothinktank.org and review our goals and our mission. And if you'd like to volunteer time with us, that's what we need most.
Okay.
Currency right now, we need time because we need more people to understand what we're doing and pass that information on. The number one thing you can do to help us is share our content. If there's more people sharing the content that's coming out, we just posted something about $15 dental cleanings in Waukegan. If you share information, you positively impact so many people. So please, 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 if you want to donate anything, it's donate your platform. Share our content, talk about what we're doing, ask us questions, hold us accountable. Hold us accountable.
Yes. That's dope. I gotta make sure. I'm sure I shared it, but I gotta make sure I shared it because it was amazing when I seen it. I'm like, well, I didn't know about that. Billy is the plug. I'm telling y'all, like, it's like he go deep diving. He go deep diving for information, y'all. He will come out and be like, look, this is what I found. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even really know nothing about, like, I knew about Rosalind Franklin University, but I didn't know about everything about Rosalind Franklin University until this brother right here started telling us, like, they got a clinic, yo, like a whole clinic, a free clinic right here in North Chicago. So when I tell y'all, like, for real, Billy is the truth. He is that dude that's gonna go and find the information. He's gonna find the resources, and if they don't have the resources to impact us, he's gonna make them get the resources to impact us, to help us. So it is amazing. Like I told you before, bro, you know, anything you need, Radical Radio got you. It's just a blessing to have such a powerful relationship with you in the North Chicago think tank. I, you know, speak nothing but blessings over, you know, the North Chicago think tank and everything that you guys are doing. So we will be back, not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. You guys can come on this journey with us. Every other Wednesday, we will be right here on YouTube as well as the Facebook page. We will be here at 7 o'clock every other Wednesday. All right. So thank you guys for joining us. Make sure that you share the broadcast. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also go to the North Chicago Think Tank page. They have a page on Instagram. They also have a page on Facebook, and I need you guys to go and follow them. All right. So we should see those subscribers up. Share the content. As Billy said, the best thing that you can do for the North Chicago Think Tank right now is to share the content. And y'all go check out his pictures, because I'm telling y'all, he giving us a whole storyline of this trip. So y'all go check him out on Instagram as well. Thank you guys. We will see you guys in a few Wednesdays. All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.